This is question 14 of the homework, and it is problem number 3.2.11. And in this problem, we are calculating the range, the variance, and the standard deviation. And I've already copied the data set over into Excel using the link here on the right of the data set. And I can go ahead and start with the range. Now, there isn't a range function in Excel, but we can calculate it just through the min and max functions. The min will identify the smallest data point in the observation set, and the max will identify the largest number in the data set. So we can use those separately or together. If we do max, we would just simply put the range of cells into the parentheses that points out the max or largest number, and then we can do min. Min, do the same thing, put the range of cells within the parentheses. And so what this has done is just simply picked out the largest, the max, and the smallest of the figures in the data set. And this is something we could do obviously very easily just by visual inspection. So if we look across the data set, we can see here that 17 is the biggest number, and we can see that 3 is the smallest number. The difference between 17 and 3 is just 14. So that's easy to do just kind of quickly in our head. But if you have a much larger data set, then it's good to know how you can utilize Excel to just make sure that you are not making any mistakes. And so the difference here, if you had, again, a larger data set, you can just do a subtraction formula to find the difference. So this cell minus with the dash, this one here. So max minus min is 14. And we could also just put that all in one formula, where we would say equals max, parentheses, put the range of cells in there, close it out, then do the subtraction sign, which is the dash, and then do our min formula. And it's just going to do the same thing, but all in one step, or one nice easy formula. Okay, so that's our range. And we can find the variance as well. So again, we can always use the formula builder here for variance. See, it's in the frequently used list here. A lot of times, if we don't recall what a formula is called or function is called in Excel, we might just start by typing the whole thing out. So in this case, variance, nothing comes up. So we can back it down just to VAR, and then that will give us some options. So variance of a sample, or just variance here. VAR is the same thing. We'd have variance of a population here with the P on the end. So we just use the VAR, will work just fine. And it always tries to pre-fill some cells for us, which in this case is incorrect. So we can put the correct range of cells that we're operating with. And click done. And so there's our variance. So in this case, it's 30.28. And then for our standard deviation, we can use the standard deviation function. Same thing, we might start out by trying to figure out, long way, what it is. That's not the right one. It's actually STDEV. So here's, we've got a list of different standard deviations we can use. The STDEV is fine. There is also one specifically for populations and one specifically for sample data sets like we have here. So either one of these would work. But I will just use the STDEV, kind of typically the default. And again, we've got to correct the range of cells here. And then we come back with 5.50. Now, being that there's a 0 as a second decimal place, we can just do 5.5, and that will accept that answer as correct as well. Now notice that the standard deviation is just the square root of the sample variance. So another way that we could have got the standard deviation is just take the square root of the variance, and we could do that by doing the square root function, which is sqrt, and open parentheses and input our variance into the parentheses, and you see we have the same answer here. So again, just another kind of a shortcut way to do it by using the square root function.